Hello everyone, today we're going to be looking at how you can make this circuit right here that uses the IP switches and a RGB light. We're only going to be using two of those colors though. So it is a combination lock, so when I put 1 0, 1 0, the light will turn green, it'll work. So now, let's take a look at how this works real quick. We have it hooked up to an Arduino to use the logic board on it. So this light right here, we have it connected to ground so we can run it directly through the Arduino. So we have it to ground. Let's take a look at how this works. So we have the light directly hooked to ground using a resistor instead of the positives, so we can run it directly through the light and avoid all that extra wiring. Then for the IP switches, we have these resistors to set the value to when it's 0, it will be 0. There will be no, so it will be logically processed by the Arduino as a 0 and turn it off. So that's all fine. So we have power and ground here, a DIP switch, and an RGB light. So let's go over to the code and show you how to code it. So now that you know what we're going to be doing, let's start coding it. So here you can see that I have the wires all defined, so it's easier to read the code. So we're defining red as 7, green as 6, input of the dip switch number 1 as 8, dip switch input 2 as 9, and dip switch input 3 as 10. Then we're just setting it up, and you can see here I've included this with Serial.begin. This is in case you want to build on this code and want to make it tell you when it's green or red. That's completely up to you though. So here you can see I've set all the inputs as inputs and all green and red as outputs. Then we're checking if input number 1 is high. If not, this else statements get written where it's green gets set to low and red gets set to high. Then we're checking if this is low. If not, do the same thing. Then we're checking if this is high. If not, do the same thing. If all these conditions are met here, then this will write where it's green is high and red is low. So now you just want to plug in your Arduino and export this code. Once you have the code on your Arduino, we can now start building it. Okay, now that we have it coded, it is time to start building. So here I have a micro breadboard that we're going to build this on, and the Arduino with the code that we programmed. Now, the first order of business is to connect ground of the Arduino to ground on the micro breadboard. Then we're going to connect 5 volts to the positive power rail. Then let's grab the module here. Here is the module. And you can see the labeling here. Unfortunately, this is incorrect labeling, as green is actually this wire, which is marked as red, and red is actually the G wire. I have no idea why they mislabeled it, but okay. Then just plot this here and connect the ground pin through a resistor to the ground power rail. Then grab the DIP switches. You need 3. I just have 7 available in case you want to add more for a project like this. So just put that here. And bam. Then connect one side of the dip switches through ground through a resistor. This is so that when the Arduino reads these, it will not be confused and will always read a 0 as a 0 and not have voltage randomly in the iron in the metal of the breadboard. This is very important for applications like this. Then connect the other side of the dip switches to 5 volts. Worst case scenario, there is a 5 volt difference across the resistors, which is nothing. They deal with that easily. So, plug these into here. And that's it for the wiring on the breadboard. Then what you're going to want to do is to first let's hook up the green. So as I said earlier, green is the R label. Unfortunately, that makes it a little bit confusing, but it's the wire after the resistor that's connected to the ground. So just connect green to 6. Then let's grab red and set it here and connect it to 7. Now, if we power up the Arduino, it should turn on. However, I do not have my cable with me right now, so that'll have to wait. Then, what you're gonna do is connect dip switch 1 here to input 8. After that, connect dip switch input 2 to input 9. And finally, dip switch 3 to input 10. So, now that everything is connected, let's power it up. So here I have my cable. Let's just put the Arduino like this. And immediately you will notice that the light turns on. So now that we have the code inputted, you can see that it now works and functions. So that's great. That's it.